This is the way.
What do you mean, this way?
This is the way.
What about this way? I'm sorry, I'm gonna do it again.
Okay, people, welcome back to another Fwoosh review. Today we're going to take a look at the Best Buy exclusive? Hasbro Star Wars Black Series Heavy Infantry Mandalorian. According to the credits, this is Paz Vizsla. Voiced by Jon Favreau, who also voiced Pre Vizsla in the Clone Wars. Now, are they connected? I don't know. According to IMDb, the last names for both the troopers are spelled just a little bit different. So they could be connected somehow. We don't know how this whole Mandalorian thing works yet. It's all a mystery, which is the basis for Boba Fett and I guess everything that sprung forth from Boba Fett. Looking at the package, it's your standard Black Series fare when it comes to the deluxe figures, and that's how they package this. It's a bigger box, it's longer, it's a higher price tag, but that's the way they went with it, so what can we do? On the side, D2, Disney. We get it. Disney Plus has Mighty Ducks. On the back, blown up picture from the front, a kind of generic bio. Down here, so many warnings and essentially says figure and accessory and small parts may be generated. What's that mean? On the other side, Heavy Infantry Mandalorian, that big ass font, but they didn't go for heavy or infantry. They went with Mandalo. Am I going to have to make this joke again? And I need you today. On the top, absolutely nothing. On the bottom, more legalese, your barcode. I'm gonna get this open. Gonna play. There we go. It was in an included warning. Don't put it in your mouth. Ooh, this is gonna be no surprise to anybody, but honestly, this damn thing is awesome. Flipping back and forth to the episode, it's crazy how accurate this is. Usually, when we get an action figure during the height of the hype of whatever we're watching, they've used concept art or preliminary sketches or whatever, but this is pretty damn close. Again, at least as far as I can tell. The cut of the armor, the Mandalorian look, but again, piecemealed together like we're used to seeing with Boba Fett and even the Mandalorian now. The armor look, the colors, just everything about it, it's so mixed-matched, but at the same time, it works together just so well. It even has the sleeve look where it's a shirt with the pieces on it, and the wrinkles there are just so pretty and a beautiful contrast against the smoothness, well, except for the battle damage, you know, of the armor parts. There's some cloth, there's some metal, there we go. Pouches on the belt, the leather look to it. I love the punched in gold for the buttons, the grommets, even on the inside there. Again, some undergarment look down to here, but then it changes to a different color. In fact, it goes back up here to the short sleeve shirt look. Unlike the Mandalorian though, a lot of the armor pieces match side to side. Well, no, actually not, huh? They have the same cut, but they do have different details. See the seam line right here? It's not over here. And then on the knee pad, pretty close, but it has this extra detail. So it's still asymmetrical, but he's done a better job at matching the two sides. Like right here, there's this other armor plate coming out from under the shoulder pad. But then the colors, again, they don't match, but they work. This orange, yellowish mustard gauntlet over here kind of goes back to the vintage Boba Fett, but at the same time, it feels heavy construction-y, which really works for this guy. Brown blends into the belt over here. He's got a light blue handguard for no reason whatsoever when it's brown on this side. He's got different colors down here on the toes. Dings in the armor where the silver or the Beskar is showing through. Here, all around. Kind of a callback to Boba Fett again. But there's your biggest callback. The Mythosaur? Is that what they call this? On the shoulder. One thing you will notice though is the difference in sheens between here and here. I think this is supposed to be the same color, the same sheen, but because this is the hard plastic, this is rubbery, so it's more matte than the armor. But with everything else on this guy looking like it is, that is not a bad thing at all. Not a lot of gripes here, but I do have a stuck swivel right here. You can see it's gapped a little weird. I don't know if it's a huge detent because on this side, it's a tough twist. So it may be, oh, there we go. Yep, it's just a heavy ass detent. Scary, actually. Go back. Okay, we're gonna leave that right there. On the back, the belt continues down to this cloth ass cover. Very nicely done. I like the paint. It looks worn, but it's a little thicker than I prefer it to be. I'd like to see it a little bit thinner to get out of the way, you know, in case you want them to sit down, which it's not gonna stop them from it, but it does. You know what? I'm no grop about it. What's it gonna do? Go back this far? Oh, it gets in the way of the articulation. No, that works, whatever. And everything I said about the armor also goes for the helmet. It's definitely Mandalorian, it's definitely a callback, but at the same time, it brings in new elements, like putting this big honking antenna on this side. But then I catch that light blue right there, and that matches down to here. So, as an overall piece, I can't help it. It just works great. And on top of all that, look at the thickness of it. It's a big guy. And looking at it in the package, I thought, boy, that's a big chunk of plastic. But going over articulation, there is, I think, a dumbbell at the top of the neck going up into the helmet. And then there's a ball joint at the bottom of the neck. Altogether, you can get some up, push forward, down, not great. But man, there's a lot of shift and tilt. Boop, boop, boop. Swivels, get the shoulder pad out of the way, and there is a butterfly joint at the shoulder. It's not the greatest range, but there is forward and back. And because of that rubberiness, you hinge the shoulder up, it rides the torso, gets out of the way. I couldn't ask for more than that. Swivels around, bicep hidden nicely where the sleeves meet. A single elbow, it comes up past 90, but a little bit. Not the greatest, but it works. There is a swivel at the gauntlet below that, swivel at the wrist, and then hinged up and down, which any other time I would say, oh, trigger finger hand completely works, but we'll get to that here in a second too. Ball joint at the torso, nice range all around. Ball coming out to the hip, all the way 90. Look at that. Back, you weren't going to get more than that anyway. Out, holy shit, look at that. That is more than some Marvel Legends. That's more than a lot of Marvel Legends figures I have. Swivel at the thigh, very tight, but nicely hidden behind that armor plate. Double knee kind of come out around the skirt piece. And bing, ankle, look at that. It does get in the way of forward right here because of the kick guard. And then forward facing pin for, well, kind of amazing rocker action. For accessories, it comes with his jetpack and his big ass gun. Now comparing this to the show, I think this is a little bit off. I don't think this hose runs down to his wrist. At least I didn't notice it. And this part up here may be a little bit different. But you know what? I'm okay because it still looks fantastic. The design, the colors completely work here. I love the silvers. The yellow is a little bit brighter than what we see on the figure itself with the mustard color. But again, I see this and I think, oh, bulldozer, backhoe, heavy construction. Completely works for a heavy infantry Mandalorian. This is a little bit rubbery, even though it wants to stay in this bent position. There is a swivel at the bottom of it. The hose swivels at the bottom much nicer where it attaches to the weapon. And then this handle on top swivels all the way around. Obviously, it goes on his back. It's a rectangle peg, so it won't rotate because you're going to be kind of pulling on it a lot. This hose comes down and plugs into the back of what I can only guess is his, well, that's a big ass flamethrower. And then you have several options for the gun. Right here is a peg. It's got a flat spot on it. You can plug that in right here. The flat spot is to keep it from rotating around. So if he's just hanging around the armory, the forge, he'd have it in, you know, the up position. But if you want to have him shooting, and who doesn't? At first I couldn't figure out if this was the handle you hold or this handle, but I think this is like something to do with actually shooting the weapon. You know, the easiest way is to slide it sideways between the thumb and the fingers. Rotate this handle out, and then he just grips that in his left hand. And that looks amazing. But because of how he holds the gun right here, it's kind of limited because it is hinged up and down. I would have liked to seen the traditional that I don't like seeing with a trigger finger hand. Like he has on the left hand, it hinges side to side. But the way he holds the weapon, I would have liked to seen it go the other way. So if I had any complaint whatsoever, it would be the articulation in the wrists. It may be time for Hasbro to start putting ball joints there. Height-wise, the heavy infantry Mandalorian stands at 6.5 inches tall to the top of his helmet, which makes him appropriately large compared to Cara Dune and the Mandalorian, all from the Mandalorian. He's a big bastard. You do not want to run into this guy in a back alley on Mos Eisley. Here he is with a couple more Mandalorian characters. I don't know if it was Zuvio, but we saw him in the first episode, right? And then the off-world Jawa. And then for giggles, here he is with the Hasbro Star Wars Black Series Jango Fett and Boba Fett. I hate to say it, but I think he'd kick both their asses. And then, as always, here he is with Gus. Whoa, you're a biggin', but have you met my friend Pete? I'll be damned. Good grief, look at the spread. So at the end of the day, I could not... Seriously, I could not be happier. Like I mentioned at the first, it's a deluxe release. It is exclusive, I think, so it cost $30 compared to the usual 20 or 22, or we're gonna have to get used to 24 soon. But after having it out of the package, after messing with it, after playing, I'd pay it again. I kind of want another one. Throw a different paint job on it or just have another one. It's a cool piece. It's big, it's chunky, but it's not clunky. It is a surprisingly agile action figure. Plus it helps that the Mandalorian show kicks ass. And this character's appearance there just added to the kick-assedness. On top of all that, we see something here that we don't see with a lot of media tie-in action figures. It came out at the same time the character appeared in the show. Shows up in episode 3, it goes up for order on bestbuy.com, you order it, and now I have it already before episode 4. That is crazy! The figure for the Mandalorian himself came out before the show, and now other things have happened in the show that we want action figures of. Pretty much everything, for me at least. I have a feeling that as soon as the show ends, or it gets closer to the end, we may see some of those things. I don't know, because the synergy between the action figures and the show itself this time around for the Mandalorian, it's working. So Hasbro, the sculpting here, the articulation, the overall look, the paint, the feel, and the timing most of all, not to sound cheesy, but this is the way, boys. So if you enjoyed this review, whatever your platform you're watching, give me a follow, give me some comments. Lots and lots of love to the Fwoosh Plus members. This time around, don't take my word for it. Go find out for yourself. You will be pleasantly surprised. And I'll catch you on the Fwoosh.